do some wiring cleanup. Look at that rat's nest. So I took it out and played a little bit the other day. Got some footage. Come back. First thing I noticed were my rock lights. Wire busted right off, so I have to fix that. We're going to be shortening up some of these leads. Getting this stuff cleaned up, bundled up, tightened up. Probably get rid of that guy right there. All right, well, here are some of the tools that you're going to need. You're going to need wire cutters, wire strippers, of course a soldering iron, solder, heat shrink, heat gun, or a lighter for the heat shrink sometimes, if you'll be careful. And it's nice to have a set of helping hands. So all these servo wires, as you can see, I've shortened them before just by cutting, splicing, soldering, and heat shrinking. Sometimes you just can't get them so short. You know, some of these wires, you got your JST connectors. Of course, I'll go over this wiring where they all go. And then you have your servo ends, servo extensions. Now they sell all kinds of extensions and splitters and everything else, but if we're just shortening wires, you know, I've always done it this way by cutting the ends. But I finally got smart and I bucked up. ProTech sells a crimping tool. You can buy these crimping tools on Amazon, probably cheaper, but I mean, it's 16 bucks through AMain. And I know they work because they sell them, and they're selling for this specific application. I also got a bunch of connectors. I'm using the ProTech RC JR style servo connectors. I got both male, females. They're multiple packs, so I got enough to do the rest. We're actually going to shorten these wires the proper way, and we're going to go and step by step and see how this works together. All right, let me get the camera set up. All right, so let's go over this. What do all these wires do? So let's start right at the battery. Your battery's going to plug into here. I'm running a 3S LiPo. So you got your power coming in, all your voltage. It's got a DIN plug here, which I'm going to get rid of. We'll connect these, desolder these connectors here, connect the wires back to each other. Gets rid of one more possible loose connection. So your power comes in here and it goes right to your ESC. In this case, I'm using the Tekin BXR. Nice, light, small footprint ESC. One issue with this is it tells you right in the instructions you can run the internal BEC to power your steering servo on 2S. Usually that's sufficient. But under bind, it doesn't have a high enough amperage rating to keep up with the servo. So it's, if you run a 3S power like I am, it tells you right in there that the BEC and internal BEC of this cannot power. Well, it can, but it will struggle powering a servo. So it's highly recommended that you run an external BEC. So, which is what we've done. So your power comes into here, into your ESC, and then of course that is plugged into this wire here. It's plugged into your throttle port on your receiver, and then tapped right into this side of the connector. See these little two wires? This is an additional power tap. So now I have 3S power right here. These JSTs, I made up a quick splitter, so I get power to two different deals. In this truck, because I'm running lots of lights, I've got a winch I'm put on here, possibly two, servo, yada yada yada. I wanted to run two BECs because I need different voltages. I need high enough voltage for the servo to make it work proper, and I need a low enough voltage for the lights. So got one splitter going to this guy. It's just a 10 amp Castle Creations BEC, and these are all completely adjustable. So this is good up to 6S power on input, and you can adjust the voltage. I've got it set to 5 volts. I always try to ride on them the last time I changed it. So 5 volt, I need 5 volts for all the rock lights. Now I could have hooked up the rock lights to the Dragon controller, but the Dragon controller is mounted under the body, and then connect. And then I would have to have another connector coming down under these lights. I didn't want that. I wanted one connection, which is this. This connection runs everything you need for that My Trick RC Dragon light controller, right? So it gets its power from your balance port on your battery. So I got two connections. I hooked the battery up, main power, and then I plug this into the balance port, which then powers the Dragon. Okay. So I needed two different voltages. I got this one set at 6 volt. This is also a Castle Creations BEC 2.0. It's the waterproof. Nice thing about this one is it has two outputs. So you got your one input, and then it's got an output here, which I have taped off for now, and it has an output here on a servo connector. So that's kind of nice. So I'm going to run the servo and the winch off of this, or possibly both winches off of this one BEC set at 6 volts. The rock lights, like I said, we run off of this guy set at 5 volts. It just adds more stuff. And even though Castle BEC instruction card says you don't want to run multiple BECs in parallel or in series. These are running in parallel. Well, we're going to see what happens. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. These LEDs, they don't draw a lot of amperage, and I'm sure someone with more electrical knowledge will know better than me, but I'm going to give it a shot. It shouldn't hurt nothing. It should be fine. What else we got? So once you hook this up to the Dragon, hook this up to the balance port, those guys goes right into, so this one right here. So this one is actually your ESC, right? It comes from ESC, and it plugs into this neat little splitter right here. And you can tell there's another servo lead plugged in right there. So I got two. This one is what actuates the brake lights that you see on the back of the truck when you're driving. It just senses when you're on the throttle or off the throttle. So that's why that's there. And that's plugged into the throttle port, just like normal. What else we got? So if this guy is powering my servo, I got full voltage coming out to another splitter. You can see I got power and ground. It splits it to another power and ground. So I got another port here. I can add more stuff to it for 6 volts. And then this wire here goes to my steering servo. Now it's not a direct power servo. This is what I had laying around, so this is what I'm going to use. So with that, the yellow wire is your signal wire coming from your servo. Red is your positive, black is your negative. So it gets all the power from the BEC. You see that? And then, make sure you run a ground also. You can see this extra ground right here. So you got a ground and your signal wire that plugs into your receiver. So the servo gets all the power from here and gets a signal from here. Kind of confusing. You do it a couple times, you'd be good to go. So that's that. This wire here is the dig servo. It's unplugged because, well, we're ready to run Spectrum servo fried, which is crazy because I bought an aftermarket, the exact same servo when I bought my Capra. Adjusted the endpoints, set the dig, we're all good to go. Never had a problem with it. For whatever reason, this one, it just smoked within not even a full battery. So I know a lot of people have been having problems. They say set your endpoints, set your endpoints. I did set the endpoints, and it's been jittery and super noisy since day one. So there's got to be something bad with the ready to run Spectrum SX107s, which is crazy, again, because it's the exact same servo I got in the Capra. Never had a problem. Anyway, so I got to get a new servo. So that's disconnected for now. So that's what that wire is. Obviously, all these are my rock light wires, the black and whites. They come over here. Here's the output of the 5 volt. And I just got it spliced into there. These guys are going to be, I'm not going to shorten these wires up. They should be good enough. But I am going to, so I'm probably going to start here. We're going to take care of this connection. Undo all those. Solder it back to one, so I got one piece. And then we'll have to break out the new cool tools, the new crimper, and the new wires. And we'll start shortening up all these guys. I have to shorten up this. I could probably shorten this up. The JSTs are pretty simple. Just watch your polarity, positive, negative. Yeah. All right, let's get after it. All right, there it is. All cleaned up. About as good as it's going to get. Still looks like a mess. I don't have any loom, and quite frankly, a lot of stuff to loom in there. So, you know, when you add all these electronics and lights and winches and BECs and splitters and everything else, it just ends up being what it is. All right, so what else did I do this week? What other upgrades did I do? Let's put the body back on. She looks like a truck. All right, so you can tell I took the bumpers off, rear and the front. Those are getting prepped for paint right now. I added a couple scale goodies up top. Still got to figure out a way to fasten those down to make it look cool. Got some rotopacks installed. Some rear scale hubs. Let's see. I got more scale items in the back. Little egg crate from Scale by Chris. 3D printed goodies. What else did we get? So we got a shovel and an axe. Got those mounted. Sliders are in the works. And let's see. Still haven't updated my headlights or the spotlight wiring. So I got to do those still. And then I added a scale steering stabilizer. You know, on a 1-to-1 truck, these are actually supposed to hook to your tie rod and then your axle, help with, you know, bump steer or ease up on the steering of it. But a little cool factor. So I got that on there. And yeah, I think that's about it for this week's update. So I hope you guys enjoy. Get out and do some crawling, and hopefully none of the wires are going to go kaput. All right, well, see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.